If you're even thinking about buying a home, the first step is not calling a realtor or even looking at listings. It's getting a pre-approval. Without it, you're pretty much shopping blind. And in this environment, with rates, rules, and affordability changing constantly, skipping this step could cost you time and money. So to understand why this is even important, let's talk about what a pre-approval even is. A pre-approval is when a broker like myself reviews your situation, your file, in the exact same way a lender would. You're looking at your income, your down payment, your credit, your overall financial situation. And this isn't just a quick calculation. This is an in-depth review, taking into account provincial and federal policies and regulation. The number I come back to you with is real and specific to your situation, so you can go out there and shop with confidence. It's kind of like a coach reviewing the playbook before a big game. The entire team knows exactly what to do and how to move across the field. So now you know what it is. Let's talk about why it's crucial to have in place. Firstly, the budget. You now know your budget, so you can shop within it. But what if you wanted to increase your budget a little bit? You wanted to look for a property with a suite. What would that do for you? And maybe your initial intention was to put 5% down. What would happen if you put 10 or 15? And why does the interest rate go up when you put 20% down? So many variables, and these are all things that we can lay out in front of you with 100% clarity during the pre-approval process. Also, you've got a certain amount of money tucked away for a down payment, but what if you took a portion of that down payment and used it to pay off your debt? All of a sudden you've got less to put down, but now you can qualify for a little bit more. This is another really key variable that I talk to people about all the time. And let's be real, it protects you from heartbreak. The last thing you want is to walk into a beautiful home, absolutely fall in love with it, only to find out that you can't afford it. That would really suck. So now let's talk about some common misconceptions. The first being that a pre-approval is just a rate quote. Like I said, that's not true because it is a deep dive into your financial situation. The next being that the financing is guaranteed. Many people would think that once you have a pre-approval, it's all done. Not true. The property still has to qualify. Lenders can and have declined properties based on location, condition, overall property type. The list goes on, tons of variables. The property has to qualify. Some people would say that a pre-approval hurts your credit. It does not hurt your credit. One credit pull will not drop your score. There's nothing to worry about. And lastly, that a pre-approval locks you into one lender. Not true. We still, as brokers, have the ability to submit your file to whichever lender will serve you best, so you don't have to worry about being locked into one situation. It's just getting you prepared. All right, now let me give you some real world examples. I'm gonna tell you a failure story and then a success story, so we can end on a high note. But firstly, let's talk about the failure. So, clients out there house hunting does not get pre-approved. Talks to a realtor, they're out shopping around, and boom, they find their dream home. They fall in love with it, they write their offer, the offer gets accepted. And then once the offer is accepted, they go to sort out financing. Now we look at the file. Yes, they made a ton of money, but this client had never put any effort into strengthening their credit. They had one credit card with a $1,000 limit, and that just wasn't enough credit strength for the lender. The file got declined, the offer collapsed, and we had to spend, I think it was 2 months getting another credit card, getting the first one's limit increased to beef up their credit so that they could get into a position to buy. Now, let's talk about the happy ending, the success story. The client comes to me, we get pre-approved, I write them a pre-approval letter. So they're out there house hunting with some strength behind them. They find their dream home and it becomes competitive. They write the offer and they're one of 6 offers on the table. Now, with their pre-approval letter in hand, that gave them a little bit of leverage, told the seller that they were really serious. But what I did on top of that was I called the seller and I was like, hey seller, I represent client A and B, and I just want to let you know they're pre-approved and their financing is forthcoming. I verified after the fact that they were not the highest offer on the table, but we won the offer competition. And they ended up closing on that property, getting their keys, and sailing off into the sunset. So that was a very happy situation. So the takeaway here, this pre-approval isn't just a letter. It's not even just confidence to you, but it's leverage out there in the market when you get into a negotiating situation. Now, when you go and get your pre-approval, you're gonna wanna talk to a broker, not the bank. Listen, I might be biased, but brokers are the best. I've seen it before and I will see it again. Banks often do surface level checks, while on the other hand, brokers take a deep dive into your financial situation, all variables considered. And when I say that, I mean that we're looking at the possible utilization of rental income, different down payment structures, different debt structures, and even different ways we can structure your income. All variables are reviewed up front. Nothing is left to surprises. A pre-approval with a broker is not just about if you qualify. It's about how much you qualify for, with what structure, under what strategy. Here's the bottom line. A pre-approval, it's your foundation. It allows you to shop with confidence, negotiate with strength, and avoid those costly mistakes. So don't shop blind and don't be a statistic. Let's make sure you know exactly what you qualify for before you start your search. So subscribe for weekly videos, follow me on Instagram, and if you want to book a call, go to my website.